Okay. Yeah, we're started now. Um,
Live on the internet.
yeah. It's funny because we talked about Encanto last week,
Yeah,
and what did I say about Encanto?
I can't fucking remember, dude. I don't even listen to our podcast after you publish them.
You were there.
I know, dude, but I don't barely remember what I had for dinner yesterday. Okay.
I mean, all I said was like, it was a good movie, but I don't like we talk about Bruno. I like the chorus because Bruno no no is just an annoying thing that I don't understand why people do in songs.
It's not how they. It's like how they don't say it like that though. They like say it like no, like they pace it out. Like there's
Yeah,
a.
yeah, but it's still like using the end of the name to like it's just weird to me. It's like just I don't know. Like it to me I find it annoying. But apparently my mom heard me say that and she texted me and said, "I heard you hate Encanto." And I was like, "What?"
Oh,
I didn't
moms,
say
man,
that.
Moms are all alike.
And then
they're the
she's like, "What do you
worst.
have against Lin-Manuel Miranda?" And I was like, "What? Nothing."
Isn't that the person who said that her acting is garbage? Like, didn't you call her out on stream and said she's straight up like a garbage actor, or like something like you hate her singing?
Who? Oh, no, Lin-Manuel Miranda is the guy who wrote the song
Oh, I don't know.
and he wrote Hamilton.
Oh, he did?
She might as well have just been like, "Why do you hate being happy?"
Yeah, and he played Hamilton.
Yeah, no, I didn't know it was this guy who did he did the writing for this movie. That's good.
Yeah, I think he voiced Bruno as well. But who do I hate? What?
You were
I thought
talking
you.
about the chick from Frozen.
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
hated it.
Adine Menzel. I don't like her
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Surprised your mom didn't hit you up about that one.
Oh, I think she knows that already.
Oh, well, that's good.
But yeah, I don't like her voice. I mean, I have nothing against her acting, but her voice is just annoying to me. So, but yeah,
Also
how
watched Luca. No, sorry to
I
cut in.
haven't watched it.
It's actually really cute. Few tearjerker moments.
Yeah.
And then I went back and watched Soul and really cried, probably because I was like super drunk. But it happens.
What about Lightyear? Are you excited for that?
I saw the new trailer today, the new teaser. We got like it looks really intense for a kids movie. I wonder if it's good. They're gonna bump it up to like PG-13. Do we have a rating yet? Do you
Isn't
know?
isn't that a Pixar thing though? Like they just do that?
Where they just make it like for adults? Like yeah, I guess Up was pretty intense too. Like that guy fell off the blimp at the fucking end.
Well, I mean, everything like everything that like Pixar does like has like this extra
The
kind
intensity,
of
yeah.
yeah, like it's almost always more for adults than it is for kids, right?
Well, it's for kids, but it's also for the adults who will be seeing the movie with their kids.
I mean, like they put Syndrome through a jet engine. Like that's pretty adult. There's only
Yeah,
one outcome to that.
no capes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like sure it's like marketed for kids, but is it actually for kids?
uh,
Like I feel like most kids don't grasp a lot of the fundamental like core concepts of some of these things. Like they just go and watch it and enjoy it, right?
yeah, because of the colors and the singing.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, when I was a kid, I didn't think about anything. I just watched it and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." But as an
Uh,
adult, you get introspective and shit.
so you remember I talk about all the time that little DVD player I had when I was a kid, and I had like serious issues sleeping, so I would watch movies all the time. One of the movies I watched was Ratatouille. Also, like in addition to Star Wars, like
Uh,
that's when I really started to pick up on like wow, there's a lot going on in Pixar movies, and I think I was like 14 or 15 probably when I recognized that because Ratatouille it deals with a lot of intense shit, essentially about like the fundamental aspects of creativity and who gets to be creative and who isn't.
see, I didn't grasp any of that because I only seen Ratatouille once and it was in German.
Oh well, there's
Yeah. So,
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was watching like Secrets of the Ooze and like Sea Prince and the Fire Child, which I still cry to every time I see it.
I have no idea what that is.
It's an old
same.
Japanese film. It's
Oh,
basically Romeo and Juliet, but with like a sea prince and a fire child, and like they both die at the end. It's very sad.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, that's
When
why a lot of Japanese horror media is so fucked up because all the super fucked up horror stories.
yeah, when I was a kid, like what I would watch on TV was just like Gargoyles and
Mm.
X-Men the animated series and Batman the animated series and
Oh, yeah.
Sailor Moon. That's about it.
Yu Yu Hakusho. That was a
Never
good
watched
shit.
that.
Naruto, dude. I was super
Never
into
watched it.
Naruto when it was on Toonami, dude. Oh my god, I remember watching the first
No.
episode. This is the greatest
See,
shit.
my Toonami was like Cowboy. Well, not even Cowboy Bebop wasn't on there.
I had a,
Outlaw Star was though. I remember that.
I had a strict 9:30, like 9 o'clock bedtime. So, like, unless I would sneak, I would usually just sneak out of bed to go watch TV though. If I really wanted to watch something, like I would stay up to watch Robot Chicken.
Mm,
It's at 11 p.m.
yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember every day before school, I would watch. Like it'd be like 5 or 6 in the morning because I had to get up super early.
Oh yeah,
Have
that's when they
class.
would do Space Ghost Coast to Coast was super early in the morning.
Well, that and like it was like local TV stations, so they'd play like Pokemon, and then like some of the most more outlandish TV shows. Like my favorite one, and still today I love the show is oh God, what was it called? Mummy's Alive, which I've told uh Chair about like 5 million times.
Jeez.
It's like your standard, the group of 3 or 4 people who can transform into like different battle armor and they have to save the day, except they're all like ancient mummies and they use Egyptian martial arts and they make mummy puns throughout the entire show,
Are they like
which is great.
Are they like actual people like running around in mummies with like a shitty English dub over the top of it, like Power
No,
Rangers?
it's a cartoon, so
Oh,
yeah. But it's very ridiculous and fun and I love like Mummies Alive is my heart. I love that show. Every day I would watch it.
Hmm.
that's what you want to do, homie. It's a free country.
Yeah. When like my sister would always be the one who would like stay up later and watch like Toonami, like Inuyasha and Zatch Bell and stuff like that. But I was never really into any of it.
Dude, I
So
don't know what it is with girls
Um,
in Inuyasha, man. Like it's just
yeah.
it's like an obsession. It's ah,
what are you
every
gonna do?
Because he's pretty and he has long hair, and I hate
every
Inuyasha so much. It's ridiculous.
every girl I've ever met that watches anime, the first anime they ever watches is Inuyasha. That's a fact. Like every
It's just so bad. Like Kagome is so annoying,
girl.
and Inuyasha is literally the dumbest. And I don't understand why. Like they could just beat each other with each other in a pit for all I care. Like I can't stand that show at all.
Well, but you still watch it, so
Whenever like I was like doing online dating a lot before I was married and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like almost every girl I talked to liked Sword Art Online,
It
and I never watched it, but I heard it gets really creepy.
is really weird. And like they just take that MMO gimmick and they just fucking run with it way too long.
I heard like
That's
season 1 is good, but then it gets like really odd, like creepy, creepy, creepy.
there's like some serial killer shit if I'm not mistaken. Or I could be
I
thinking
thought there
of
was
it.
like some pedo shit in there.
Well, that's anime.
Okay, you
That's,
can't just make paint anime with a broad brush, right? Like,
I don't know. I don't. Let's see. Naruto had sexualization of underage girls. I'm pretty sure
but they didn't
Inuyasha
actually
did.
act on that stuff, right?
I know Yu Yu Hakusho had sexualization of. Well, when you're fucking 11-year-old kid, dude, everything gets your dick hard. You're just a little walking testosterone factory. It's hard.
You're not wrong.
Okay, watching Sailor Moon. Why did you watch Sailor Moon?
I mean,
Okay,
I
not
watched
all
it for
animes like
transformation
that, but
sequences.
it's pretty dang common. It's a
Yeah.
pretty common.
when I was
Yeah.
watching Sailor Moon, let's be fair, I was like 7 or 8. Okay, I wasn't 11. All right, when I was like 12 and 13 and whatever, and I was a horny person, like discovering my body. When I stayed up late, I was scouring TV for like nudity. Like random channels like IFC and stuff like that play movies because hey,
Yeah.
I was I think that's what boys do when they don't have the internet.
Go buy magazines.
But I wasn't watching anime for it.
That's what fucked me up so bad, dude. Is when I had my girl's expectation for women set by anime. It's never gonna. It's never gonna.
I can't believe I'm watching Kirby transform into a vending machine.
That's what Kirby does.
What is this?
Jesus.
Why is it so cute? I want to play it.
So anyway, Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, Baby Yoda's cute.
Baby Yoda came back. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Oh, spoiler warning if you haven't watched
yeah,
it.
if you haven't watched it, it came
the
out
finale.
today. Or,
yeah, it just came out
today.
today. But I mean, we won't say too many spoilers, I guess, because it was just a pretty average episode of a TV show.
Yeah. Well, the giant robot fight scenes were really cool, but I'm a sucker for that stuff.
The Rancor, the Rancor and the giant robots were cool, but like, I mean, we all knew Grogu's decision was going to be made. I mean, I think the only surprise was, like, I think they tried to make it like, oh, hey, look, Luke is coming, but you know he wasn't. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just an episode where something's happened. I mean, there's things to like about it, but overall, like, I don't like the mods, like those teenagers on their weird bicycles. Like,
or he did like I was watching the finale and he did this really stupid spin move to spin around and like shoot somebody.
Yeah, like he's so helping up Blacker Sen because he's like injured to the point he can barely stand. He's helping him up, and then he's like, "Oh, pikes are coming. Let me do a backwards 360 double axle spin move and shoot one of them."
And it's just so stupid because the Wookiee, like, they have to help the Wookiee up, and then he's just standing there while they like shoot these guys, and they go around.
This dude heard on the news like the Winter Olympics is going. He's like, "I'm gonna try out for figure skating in the sand."
Yeah, dude.
The other weird thing too was like when Mando and Boba were like, you know, alone, and then like the pikes are coming, and Mando's like, oh, okay, let's just like cause a distraction and get back to the palace and escape in your ship. And he's like, I can't abandon them. He's like, all right, let's just die then.
Yeah.
And Boba was like, all right, like if you're dead, you're still abandoning the people. It's just like, you know, you can tell like there's some poor writing still surrounding Star Wars.
Some poor story structure, I think, is the best way to put it. You know, season this is the season finale. That's what it's saying everywhere.
Yeah.
I do not look back upon the Book of Boba Fett very favorably. I look
back on the Mandalorian miniseries very fondly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It was like a 2-episode miniseries for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the other 5 episodes are just kind of, you know, there.
They happened. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem is, like, it's the Book of Boba Fett, but 2 whole episodes, right? 2 out of 7 episodes, which essentially is, like, more than a quarter of the entire series had, like, 15 seconds of Boba Fett. So, it's just kind of odd. You muted. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but...
Yeah, sorry, I had to blow my nose. I don't think anyone else wanted to experience that with me.
But yeah, you're like the overall like writing for the finale was just kind of odd.
Yeah.
Like it just, I don't know. Like the Pikes were like, haha, we had the Tusken Raiders murdered, but Boba Fett will never find out. And then Cad Bane's like, they did. It's like, yo, you work for them, and they like obviously didn't want him to know, and like you just told him because what, you're trying to goad him? Like, okay.
I don't know. I think Cad I guess the Marshal's dead. That's also something that was confirmed in this episode. Kind of sucks.
No, he's not.
Oh,
there was like a 10-second post-credit scene where he's in the back of the tank.
Oh, okay, good. Because that's why I'm surprised he didn't show up in this episode.
Yeah, the modifier guy who like rebuilt Fennec Shan in that one episode. He's like standing over the back of the tank, and you see Cobb Vanth in it.
Okay, good. I didn't see what episode was that scene in?
It was in the finale. It did once you get through like all the concept art credits, like there's like a 10-second scene. So like if you're skipping through, you might actually miss it because it's only 10 seconds long. Like it's just like zooms in on the back of the tank. You see Cobb Vanth kind of, and you see the modifier just standing over him with something.
I'll need to check that out then. But that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I almost missed it because I was just
Yeah.
skipping through and it's like 10-second skips.
I completely missed it.
Yeah.
So, I usually don't stick around for the credits, so that's always my problem, especially for
Yeah,
like
I usually
shows.
don't, but like season finales, like with Star Wars, like they had at the end of the season 2 of The Mandalorian, where like Boba Fett showed up at the palace, and they're like, Boba Fett
Yep.
will return. So I was like, oh, they'll probably have something. So,
Are we gonna get? When's the next season of The Mandalorian? Do we know? Do we have a date yet?
no idea. But what we do know, this was announced.
Oh boy.
Obi-Wan coming in May.
Ooh, it's probably gonna be on May the 4th because they're a bunch of huge nerds.
Actually didn't read the article, but I can tell you, May 25th.
Oh,
That's
damn it!
because it's the 45th anniversary of the original Star Wars.
No, that makes sense then, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a good month for Star Wars.
Motherfucker, my order is delayed. Why?
What
oh,
order?
that's fine. Oh, I ordered something for my wife.
Oh.
Because I'm nice.
Yeah, that's good to do. Things for your wife. The woman you spend.
Well,
most
I
time.
mean, like, you know, Valentine's Day is coming up, and then, like,
yeah, Valentine's Day.
and then our anniversary is like also.
Oh yeah, you're having your anniversary after
of the
Valentine's
month.
Day. It's no fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
And then her birthday is on what's that holiday that's made up in March? St. Patrick's Day. That one.
Hey man, don't knock it. It's a good time to drink.
Yeah, that's why it's made up. Most holidays in America are just for an excuse for people to get absurdly drunk. You know, it's not like they need an excuse to get absurdly drunk, but they'll take it.
Keeps the budget. That way you can budget around what days you're gonna party hard.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's about it for the book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Boba Fett was never in it. Plot was all over the place.
It was
Boba Fett just seems like
an okay show.
Yeah, Cad Bane was cool. I know a lot of people are talking shit about his appearance, but
no, he was great. People just didn't people just didn't like the way he looked. Like they thought his hat was too small and his mouth looked weird or whatever. But
at the end of the day, what I gotta say about the face and everything is that like they decided to go with full. It looks like they went with full character, like cosmetic, like old school. Like, and that's really hard to pull off, and I'm super glad they did that because it does look a lot better.
Like the Rancor, like obviously was mostly CGI in this, but he looked really good.
It did.
Probably because they based him off of like the like practical effects that they've had, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was cute when Grogu like cuddled up next to him at the end.
Yeah, it was super adorable. So I was about to talk about. He does look really great, and I love how the Rancors were.
Yeah.
Also, the boost away when he hits the super boost.
Yeah.
He's just banging on the window. It's super cute.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if you've heard some of this news, but I know you don't really like sports games and stuff. But during the Super Bowl, we'll get the Lord of the Rings trailer, the Rings of Power trailer.
Oh, so like for the show or for like a game?
It'll be one of the commercials during the game.
Okay.
Because like Super Bowl commercials are like well known to be like like very expensive and people expect them to be good, and most of the time they're not good. But
well, sometimes they're really funny too. That's the thing. I remember in the early 2000s, some of them were super duper funny.
Yeah.
I got this magazine at Food Max. I don't know why, because it's like the most useless magazine I've ever read.
You got a magazine at Food Max?
Yeah, Star Wars Insider from Food Max. It was $1.99, and there's nothing at all in it. It's just sucking Disney's dick about Star Wars. Has a bunch of action figures, which is cool, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm not into that sort of thing. No, I am, but not recently.
I need Monday to do that.
Yeah. Charlie Cox hopes to come back as Daredevil in the future. Yeah.
I hope so too. I hope we just get Daredevil season 3, and we can keep going.
Hulu orders a Futurama revival with most original cast members returning.
Good.
I never really was into Futurama much, but I know people liked it a lot.
It's fun stoner television. It's just something you can have on in the background, like, when you're chilling or partying or having a good time.
But I'm not a stoner, so...
Well, and I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Zack Snyder is doing a movie called Rebel Moon, which is hold on. Yeah, it's combining the epic scale of Star Wars with a samurai influence. Okay, so it's Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. I was about
Rebel
to say.
Moon centers on a peaceful colony of humans living at the edge of the galaxy. When its inhabitants are threatened by tyrant named Belisarius, they send a young woman with a mysterious past to find allies on neighboring planets. Okay, so it's Star Wars.
Maybe I'll watch it when it comes out.
So
We'll see.
they've announced some cast members. Charlie Hunnam, who was in like Sons of Anarchy, I think.
I don't know who that is.
Jimon Honso, Bae Duna, and most notably Ray Fisher. You know Ray
Good.
Fisher.
He's getting a second chance, I guess, at other stuff.
Well, he's getting a second chance from Zack Snyder, right? So, someone who liked him, but the rest of Hollywood apparently doesn't.
Yeah.
Boring news. Russell Crowe joined Sony's Kraven the Hunter movie. Don't really care about that. Oh, we can read some comments about what people thought about the Book of Boba Fett finale. Hold on.
Oh, fantastic.
Let me see if Captain Sweatpants is in here.
Here we go. Get those biohazmat suits on, bro. You're going into some toxic environment right now.
Yep. Here we go.
Get those N95s on, man.
Here we are. The finale was very lackluster. No real cliffhanger at the end. Okay, let's stop there. Cliffhangers are an indication of no confidence in your writing. So.
Well, okay, so I counter with that. You use cliffhangers in between episodes or in between, like, you don't use them at the end of your season, though. Like, because people want a satisfying conclusion to whatever, like, little macro story you were telling. Like, it's okay to use cliffhangers between episodes, but not at the end of the season. No, that's not how you end something.
I've never been a fan of cliffhangers in general because, to me, you write a story start to finish, and a cliffhanger is the start of another story that's often resolved in the first beat of your next episode. So it's kind of meaningless, and to me it indicates you don't have enough confidence in your story for it to stand on its own. You have to end with something to keep your audience attached. But that's not always the case. And there is a difference. There is a difference between a cliffhanger and a game changer, which, game changers are not just resolved right away. They actually change the future of the entire story you're trying to tell. Not just something that gets wrapped up immediately in the next episode. Anyway, he goes on. Glad it was only a 4-episode season. Too bad season 3 of The Mandalorian was only 3 episodes. Can't wait for season 4. So they said what we pretty much said, but this person responded and said, it was 7 episodes. Clearly didn't get it.
Yeah, right over the head.
That same guy who responded said, I enjoyed this show thoroughly. I hope they do a season 2. Now we have to wait until May to get Obi-Wan. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't hope there's a season 2. This guy said, none of it mattered. The sequel trilogy remains. Favreau, Filoni, and Disney just gave a whole bunch of Star Wars fans the big finger. I don't feel like they gave him the big finger. The same guy who responded to the other guy and said it was 7 episodes responded to this. He loves this. He loves responding to people.
He's getting ready, dude. He needs to let him know what's up.
This guy has a lot of stuff pent up. He said, the sequel trilogy was never going anywhere. Love it or hate it, it's here to stay. The mass delusion that they would somehow just decide to get rid of it after it made them nearly $5 billion just at the box office alone is absurd. You sound just as illogical as all the knuckle draggers who were somehow hoping for the same thing from Fox when it was the prequels getting shat on. If you don't like them, that's fine. Don't watch them ever again. If you do, that's equally fine. But you need to accept reality. He spelled accept, E-X-C-E-P-T, not accept, A-C-C-E-P-T. So, wrong.
Accept it, dude. Expect
they
it.
aren't going anywhere ever.
Expect reality. You need to do.
I mean, I agree with him that it's ridiculous to think that they would ever like get rid of something that made them so much money, because it is a corporation, but also like, wow, feelings.
Yeah.
It's mad. You don't have to be so mad.
People get mad. That's what they do on the internet.
Knuckle draggers? Like, wow.
It's just funny because like Cher and I, we never feel the need to comment on anything because it's just a waste of time. Like to comment to someone directly, but like it's okay to have discussions, but like people get way too heated and it just becomes cancer.
Yeah.
So I'm off Twitter.
To call people names just because you.
Yeah, just because you disagree or like I don't even think he was trying to say I wish they would have like retconned the sequel trilogy. A lot of people do wish that, but it's not gonna happen, and everybody knows that. But like, there's no reason to like name call, you know.
That would basically be Disney admitting that they made a mistake, and I don't believe that's something Disney will ever do. So
No, why would they ever?
Yeah.
They have too much money to ever do that.
Yeah, hopefully they can just make new cool Star Wars stuff. You know, Book of Boba Fett was a little weird, but you know, I'm just glad the Mandalorian's still there pushing things along.
Yeah. This guy said someone needs to call DCYF on Luke for putting Grogu in that X-wing all alone. He was probably busy sexting with Ahsoka and couldn't be bothered. Next thing you know, it's sitting on an office parking lot, baking in the sun all day. The same responder responded to him. He said he left him with R2. Sounds fairly responsible to me. I would trust that droid over any human nanny out there.
Wow.
That is true. Though R2 is a really good nanny.
Yeah, but nobody else knows that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like R2, what is he gonna do? Like he'll get you through a door, but it's not gonna like bring you food and keep you alive.
And also, like, deadass, if we were going to call, like, Child Protective Services for Grogu, we should have done it, like, 2 seasons ago, okay? I remember, like, in the 4th episode of the first season, like, Mando, like, had him down, like, a wire conduit or something, rearranging wires, and the little dude electrocuted himself.
Yeah.
It's just, like, that's not a safe environment for a child.
Yeah. I'm getting out of here because this guy is just responding to everybody.
He's on a warpath. He needs to let people know what's up.
Yeah, it's really odd.
So did you like Luke Skywalker and the Mando and Boba Fett, or did you think? Because I'll be honest with you, I fucking hated it. I thought it was stupid, and I thought it was just super lazy writing, and they didn't want to, you know, do anything interesting with other characters. But I don't know. I'm a miserable bastard, so.
It's something that like I don't really expect, right? Like, I never thought Luke would show up anyway.
Yeah.
So when he did, it was like very surprising to me. And bringing him back is also surprising because it's like, you know, you don't expect that. But I thought it was fine. I think like the biggest problem with stuff like this is like whenever you continuously bring back popular characters, you're making your world feel somehow way smaller. Like everything in the universe centers around these main characters, and no matter what stories you try to tell outside of those characters, it somehow always comes back to them. Like that is an issue in storytelling and world building to me. Like that would be like, you know, if Tolkien felt the need to bring up like Frodo and Gandalf whenever he's talking about like anything else happening in the world. Like, you know, that those stories exist to be where they are, but just where they are. Like, not everybody needs to be friends with Frodo. You know,
yeah.
Not everything needs to come back to him, right? And like Gandalf's been in Middle Earth forever, right? But we don't talk about, you know, the Last Alliance and Elves and Men, and by the way, Gandalf led them, right? Like that didn't happen. So it's just odd that like everything always has to like come back to these legacy characters. It's like, you know, before.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, I think I've said this before, but just to reiterate my feelings on the matter, like, it's just there was so much opportunity there to introduce another Jedi character for a new generation, you know, and they just straight up didn't do it. Usually, like, you know, I know you and my sister, like, not your sister, but my sister was really hoping for Ezra, because my sister really, really liked Rebels. But
Rebels is really good.
Yeah. Well, you can have your opinion, but
the later seasons.
Yeah, well, the Darth Vader stuff's cool because he's just being badass overpowered. But
I mean, like, did you watch all of Rebels or?
Yeah, I did, and I saw the Thrawn series season and stuff like that, and the Bendak 2 or whatever the name of that stupid giant antler monkey was really cool. The Gray Jedi, but I don't know. I something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what it was.
Most people didn't like the thin lightsabers.
They could have, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see Ezra as well, but like at the same time, it's like it's another legacy character you're bringing in to like, you think about season 1 of Mandalorian, and like we didn't get any of that. Like nobody had any idea who Moff Gideon was or any of these other characters. Like we didn't get cameos, we didn't get anything. Like it's just kind of like, hey, this is a Star Wars show, and it's really cool. I mean, there's callbacks to things. I mean, IG-11 is obviously a callback to IG-88, and Grogu is obviously a callback to Yoda, and like Tatooine, and the Moffs and all this stuff. Like it's something new, but it exists in a world we're familiar with. Whereas like now, what Star Wars is doing is like, well, we're gonna mix those new things with everything you've ever loved, and hopefully it works. And it's like, for a lot of people, yeah, it works because people love nostalgia and people enjoy that kind of thing, but it does make your world feel way smaller.
And it ruins the opportunity for new and experimental storytelling, to tell unique stories that are moving us forward instead of just reiterate. Like, how many movies do we have about Luke Skywalker now?
Right.
How many...
You know what did it really well was Rogue One as well. Like,
yeah,
Rogue One obviously is like, it does tie in directly to the main Star Wars story. Like, it ties in directly to the original trilogy, so you'd expect to see Vader and Leia and stuff like that somewhere in the movie, and obviously references to the Empire and everything else. But like, it doesn't just solely like it doesn't say, okay, we're gonna take this movie and we're gonna make it about Leia building the rebellion, right? Like, no, we're gonna make it about this other group of characters who are all new characters, and hey, we got a guy who's like a blind Jedi, and like stuff like just cool things that like that they did that like rode that line between, it's like they still manage to make the world feel bigger, make it feel like there's more to this universe, there's more stories to tell, and it's not just about the Skywalkers and all that bullshit, right? Like, these are their own characters, and they're on their own path, and
they can influence the universe around them, not just the main. You don't need to wait for the main characters to come around and make everything okay. You don't need to wait for Luke Skywalker to show up with his fucking lightsaber, kill all the droids, and save the day.
Right. And that's what I really liked about like in the book Boba Fett. Something that was good is like the Rancor destroying the shield droids, because like part of me thought when Grogu showed up, oh, he's just gonna use the Force and win the war for them, which would have been really annoying, you know. So,
dude, those droids are so freaking cool looking, like 20-foot tall droidicas shields.
Yeah, that's what I thought too immediately. I was like, oh, they're like modern droidicas.
Yeah. Shield knocking them around like fucking pinballs.
Yeah, and it is cool to see Cad Bane. Like the thing about characters from like Clone Wars and stuff that like I feel a little bit more differently about them is because not everybody's seen Clone Wars and not everybody's seen Rebels, right? Like only like super hardcore fans have probably seen them, like all the way through, especially because Clone Wars is 7 seasons. Like even people who like Star Wars are like, I'm not dedicating 7 seasons to watch a cartoon about Star Wars.
Yeah, and I don't blame them either. A lot of there's a lot of filler, especially in the first couple of seasons of Clone Wars. It's just, it's...
Right. So, like, seeing Cad Bane and not knowing that history is, like, still, like, intriguing, I think, for people.
And he has a really unique look, too. I think this is the thing that sets him apart.
The look and the voice, right? That, like...
Yeah.
Other than that, in news, there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's like the Oscar nominations, which I don't care about at all, and didn't even look at. I just
rich people jerking like, themselves off.
Yeah, people were like mad at Jimmy Kimmel or something for saying like that's No Way Home couldn't get like a Best Picture nod, but Don't Look Up can, and he doesn't understand that and stuff. People were like, neither should he, and it's like, okay, who fucking cares? Like, this is an arbitrary group of people who vote for things that they enjoy or whatever, like, and deem to be good. It doesn't mean anything.
It's professional. It's like professionals in industry voting for other professionals in industry, and usually people they know.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, honestly, movies should only really be based around how much gross profit they bring in, because that's just directly the consumer saying, "Hey, I love this so much. I see that. I want to see this movie a couple times." Like, you and I have both seen Star Wars multiple times, because like when the Force Awakens came out, it was like really good, and I saw that
Yeah.
movie like 4 times in theaters. I'm sure you saw it a couple times too.
Yeah, I saw it
Um,
like 3 or 4 times.
that's what the consumer does, because it was, aside from the fact that it had a huge budget, it also just had great acting. Fantastic acting, great clever writing, which is something you can't beat, something just can't be bought. Great acting and great, well, I guess great acting probably, no, I mean,
Well, I know the acting was good, right? But like,
yeah,
that's the whole point, right? Nobody in that movie. I mean, I don't know about Harrison Ford or whatever, but like, none of the new actors in that movie have Oscars or anything. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
It doesn't make you a good or bad
good
actor, right?
acting.
Like,
Yeah,
it's just meaningless.
the point I was trying to make with that was, like, at the end of the day, like, the movie that makes the most money should be the one that gets nominated to be the best movie of the year or whatever the fuck. Not like, a bunch of guys in a
Right.
boardroom who just like, because I don't think any Marvel movie has ever been dedicated. Like, have any of them ever won an Oscar that's been like outside of special effects or something like that? Like,
I think Black Panther won something, but I don't know
yeah,
what it was for.
yeah,
Which would make sense because to me, Black Panther is like one of the few Marvel films that doesn't need to be a comic book movie. Like
yeah,
it was its own movie with its own themes and everything else. So like doesn't need to be a superhero movie, right? Like it stepped outside of that realm and made it just was a good movie that leveraged the universe it was in instead of saying I'm gonna build my story because I'm stuck in this universe, right? Like it leveraged that and then elevated the story.
yeah.
So
But either way, like, Marvel movies constantly smash the box office for the year when they come out. Like, it's the big thing that everybody talks about, and they're not nominated for Best Picture of the Year. Why? Even though everybody
I
sees
know
them and
why.
everybody,
It's because Hollywood elites hate them. Like
yeah,
every Hollywood elite director, or whatever, like talk shit about them.
yeah, and I don't know why, because they're some of the most successful movies of all time. So maybe you should take a few fucking notes, maybe. So,
Yeah.
like,
Like
you know,
I've heard people say like they're ruining like superhero movies are ruining Hollywood and ruining filmmaking and stuff like that, and it's like, well,
no, pretty sure that's the endless number of sequels and reboots that Hollywood wants to
and
put
no
out. Sure,
original ideas and
yeah, at least like fucking Marvel. At least like the Marvel movies are original twist on what content that's already there. It's not like I'm not sure 100% sure if the Marvel movies follow like a fixed path like the comics do, but it seems like they always have like their own little spin to them.
yeah.
So I was talking to my sister about this too. Like the Wheel of Time series came out, and I told her I'm just not watching it because Robert Jordan kind of hated women, and I kind of don't want to support his foundation. And the thing about the Wheel of Time, a lot of people don't realize is that the sorcerers were essentially in the book. They were kind of like sex batteries for the knights, and it was just really fucked up and a really stupid relationship, and it was I don't know. And my sister keeps trying to tell me like, well, it's the series is being written by women now, and like blah 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 blah. And I just tell her like, look, that's great, but why couldn't these women come together and just write their own fucking show with its own fucking name?
Right. I mean,
That's the thing.
maybe
Like,
maybe Mookie has some input on this too because that's what I've always thought is like, like why make Ghostbusters with women?
yeah,
Like I never watched any Ghostbusters. I don't care about it, but it's like the whole point is like why use something popular and then take all the men out and replace them with women and then like instead of like coming up with something original that just has women in it that's good. Like, why do we have to do Ocean's 11 with women? Why do we have to do Ghostbusters with women? Why do we have to do or whatever? I mean, Charlie's Angels is with women, but
well,
like,
we don't need Mookie to answer that. It's because of lazy fucking writers in Hollywood that don't want to write new shit.
but
I
maybe
don't
like,
think it's entirely that. I think part of it is also like greed and the current climate of like where we are socially and politically. Like why they pick Ghostbusters and all these other things because they're recognizable. People will see the brand names and they will think, I recognize this thing. I know the original was good, so I will watch this other thing because I'm a familiar. And people are not really like a
I,
lot of people aren't really sort of
yeah,
enticed to watch something that they're not familiar with, because there's no guarantee that it's going to be good or bad. Like there's no guarantee that this other thing is going to be good or bad or either, but they at least can sort of connect it with like something familiar that they consider to be good. And the
Right.
other thing is there is a problem that Hollywood and a lot of other sort of media groups have right now with trying to cater to the fact that more groups want representation, but very clearly not understanding that like we don't want representation just for the sake of representing us. Like we don't, like I as a Black person, yeah, I want to see more Black people in media. Like I want there to be more representation of like Black women and Black men and mixed women and mixed men, because like I want my child to be able to see those things in the world and think that like, hey, I can identify with these, and I can, see myself possibly going after things that like I might not have considered because I've just never seen somebody like myself in that position.
Yeah.
But what I don't want is just to have a film with a Black person slapped into a role just to fulfill a quota. And I think that's a lot of what, they
Yeah.
still to this day do in Hollywood, so that when people do see a film where there's someone, Black or who's part of LGBTQ or who's trans or disabled in a role like that's, and it's actually good and well done, people freak out about it because they're like, oh my God, they like, it's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem is like the people who are the most demanding of that representation are like straight white people. Like, like in a
Yeah,
lot of ways, right?
college educated liberals has been a huge problem in this country for like the last 10 years, and it's probably going to be for a long time.
Right. Because when I see people talk like you talk about things like, and I don't want to get political, but you talk about things like affirmative action, right? And a lot of people are like, yeah, that's good because then, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, it's like people who are of color, women, anybody of any minority, they don't want to just be handed things because they feel like it's insulting, right? You wanna earn what you're given and not feel like you just got some like customary prize because of the color of your skin or because of your genitalia or because you like the same sex. Like you want to feel like like anybody else, like you earned what you got, and it's almost
Yeah.
insulting that like, hey, well, hey, we need a Black woman, so you're hired, like
And
it's
also the problem when this thing happens too, like with Ghostbusters, like Ghostbusters just suffered from a lot of lazy writing where all the jokes were like, aha, we're all women now. I'm a Black woman. I'm a this woman. I'm a that woman. Haha. That's like all we're like. The original Ghostbusters made a lot of really fucking funny jokes and had a lot of really weird shit in it.
right. Well, like what I thought too is like obviously like when they remake these things with women, it's like they're leveraging the popularity of the franchise, but I think like that's all the people are thinking about when they're making this. It's like, hey, we have a popular franchise and we want to make something with women through that popular franchise, and it's like that's where they stop thinking instead of thinking, wow, we're gonna piss a lot of people off and they're not gonna want to see our movie. Like you think about Wonder Woman, and even people boycotted that for being like too feminist. It's like people are fucking stupid, but like at least Wonder Woman has like always been a feminist story, right?
The thing is, like, they also, in those cases, they could have done the all-female Ghostbusters, and they could have done a really great job
Yeah.
because, like, the women who they put in the cast, like, they're funny women. They
They
do good
are.
work.
Yep.
But if you have writers who are only used to writing the most basic, ridiculous shit, and who, have been in the industry probably for forever. I don't know what kind of writers there are, but like the writers are, they put together a script and a story that was laughable and absolutely did not leverage the women, that they put in the actor roles in the way they should have. And so it's like if you have something that is very clearly pandering to one particular type of audience, and you have any weak points, they are going to fucking show. So it's they could have knocked it out of the park with that, and they just fucking ruined it. It is.
Well, also, you're kind of kneecapping the writer from the get go. You can have an amazing writer, but if the studio goes to you, okay, like, hey, it's Ghostbusters, but we're reshooting it with women, and it's like aimed towards women, and blah, 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 you're kind of just shooting the writer in the foot. Like, you're making them hobble because then they have to, like, then they feel like they're already put into a box when it's really that they just be, okay, got these new characters. Okay, like here are the characters. Here's kind of like the general idea of the plot. Have fun.
Yeah.
Not sit down. Hey, we're making Ghostbusters with women. Like it's more condescending.
Where like it has to exude girl power when it's
Yeah, exactly.
Look, honestly, if you found a really good writer, you could say this is going to be Ghostbusters. The entire cast is women. Give me a good fucking story.
Great. Yeah, here's your characters. Here you go. Have fun.
And if they don't give you a good story, go find someone who can you give these parameters to and who can give you a good story. But like I don't know, I think there's so many people who are kind of stuck in their ways in fucking Hollywood. There's no way they would ever recognize something as a good story.
I think it's not just Hollywood, right? Like it's just like society in general. Like everything's kind of on a pendulum in a lot of ways, and like the pendulum has swung so far almost to the other side now, where it's like I don't know if it's like I think it's the problem with like modern day feminism, where like you have to be a strong independent woman. Like if you wanna subscribe to like ancient gender roles and stuff like that, that's your choice because it's something you enjoy. Well, you have no part in womanhood because you need to be a strong independent woman who doesn't need a man. Like no, you like feminism is personal, right? Like it's about being the woman you want to be, but also being treated as an equal.
But real talk, if somebody came up to me and was like, yo, I want to give you $1 million because you're a woman and you're black, I'd be like, yeah, sure, give that to me.
I'll make
this money. I will
thank you.
My lack of privilege.
I've been waiting for this for 100 years. My people have been waiting so long for this. Finally, it has come to me.
$1 million to me. I will sing the first fucking frame of Wade in the Water 100%.
I mean, that's the thing with everything. Like, everyone has opinions, right? Like, and I do think like when it comes to representation, like a lot of people driving that are like just guilty white people, and it's not the representation necessarily that.
Or they read a history book and they can't get over the fact that most of human history is just an awful, horrible like orgy of violence and destruction across most of the face of the planet. And almost all of us are responsible, like directly, well, not directly, but like all of our ancestors are directly responsible for horrible, egregious things. And that's kind of something we all got to come to terms with eventually at some point. And some people just can't. They straight up can't deal with the fact that 200 years ago that they were possibly related to somebody that either owned slaves or treated black people.
Well, even then, it's like it's still insulting to me because it's like, as a white person, like why am I gonna decide what's right for all people of a certain race or gender or anything? Like, first of all, not everybody within those races and genders think the same. So it's like it's like with the N-word, right? Like even in black communities, people disagree about it. I'm not black. I have no say in it. I choose not to say it because I think it's incredibly racist and disrespectful. But like, I can't tell anybody else what to say or not say. Like, that's their life and that's that's someone else's culture. Like, let them decide that. Like, and this was a big thing during like with George Floyd and everything. People were like, they wanted to talk about, instead of talking about the real issue of like issues with our justice system and police brutality and everything else, they wanted to talk about black on black crime. That's an issue within the black community that they can work out themselves. It's not the issue at hand right now, right? Like you're just distracted from like the real problems, right? Like,
like the fact that the guy who kneed on George Floyd's neck had a record, he had 10 docks on his fucking record. He shouldn't have been a police officer, and he still was because they were short-staffed. It's fucked. It's so fucked up. Like,
also, it's not like we haven't talked about black on black crime forever now. Like, come on, we had this conversation in the 80s. We don't need to continue to talk about that. Yes, it happens. Watch some 80s television, catch up. Like, we are 20 years ahead.
Well, exactly. I mean, especially like, even you look at like what they did in New York in the 90s, like broken window laws and stuff, like disproportionately affects people of color committing petty crimes, and it's like that was the intention. And because we were a racist country for a long time, and we still are in a lot of ways, but that's because the world has always been really racist. And it's
racist,
we can work on things and get better and acknowledge that things have gone wrong. But like, if you want to talk about like, hey, look at black on black crime in Chicago and in Atlanta and blah blah blah, like, that's a problem for their communities. Like, that's not a problem for us. Like, we don't have to have an input and say, hey, it's okay that police did misproportionately target minorities because look at the minorities. That's racist, and it's so, like it's not okay.
Yeah.
Me think about like, I think I've mentioned it to Chair once already, but like one of the most, I guess not recent, but because Cyberpunk has been out for a while now. But one of the things that happened sort of in that same vein was like prior to its release, Rock Paper Shotgun releasing this article that's just like, look at this gang in Cyberpunk and like look at how racist they are and blah blah blah. And making this whole ass argument in this whole ass article that nobody asked for, no one asked for their opinions.
Yeah.
That like was ridiculous because like one, the creator of Cyberpunk is a black man.
Yeah.
And he was heavily involved in the development of this game and the creation of the storyline and all of the lore. And when this black man corrected them, they tried to correct him. And I'm like, this dude is telling you, as an individual who has more experience dealing with things as a black person, that you were incorrect, and you were telling them that this black person is incorrect about experiences as an African American. Like, come on.
Especially growing up in the 60s and 70s, it's an experience I don't think anyone probably like in this chat. It would make I would probably hate this country. I would be an extremist and I would hate this country. Like, it's just a fact of fucking life. Like, it was horrible. That was only 40 years ago, so it's not like it was that long in the terms of history too. Like, so
I mean, you don't even like look at American history. Look at other countries.
History, yeah.
like
go to Europe.
Currently,
go to Europe and ask them what they think of gypsies. Go ahead, ask them. They'll say, "Give me a gun, and I'll show you what I think."
Women literally get murdered for driving in some countries. Like,
yeah,
that's true.
Gay people get thrown off roofs.
Why not get a black person to actually write this damn article? Probably because they couldn't, because they knew it was dumb as shit.
Yeah, or they didn't, or because they didn't know any black people, but they certainly wanted to talk about them. It's just the thing that always just pisses me.
Two white men arguing against black people on the internet about being black.
Like, yeah. Remember that?
Mind your business.
It's like that picture. Do you remember that picture I showed you where they just freaking did the worst Photoshop to make one of the kids in the photo black instead of like going out and like reshooting this picture with an actual black person? Dude, like there was this community college. I can't remember where I found it, but they did the shittiest Photoshop. This dude looks like blackface. It's so bad, and they did it because they wanted to make their college look like it's more diverse. And they couldn't just go out and hire a black person for a photo.
They did that. That was at Sac State, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think I heard about that. Like they did that to somebody at Sac State. Yeah.
It's just so fucking.
That's atrocious.
It's so like that just kind of sums it up. Like it's just stupid people like stumbling over themselves because I don't know, they're too socially awkward to have this conversation. One, because they probably don't know how to have hard conversations, which is a very hard conversation.
Well, of course it is, but like
I can find a black person.
Yeah, also they don't know any black people. There's that too. Yeah, they never met a black person.
How would we have a conversation with it? Like, how would they understand our language?
Yeah, well, we go like, yo, it's like just how you know when someone walks up, they go, yo, what up, mate? And then you just you walk away. Don't even do it.
Sorry, I don't speak slang.
Yeah, I speak jive.
I think they're challenging my authority.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like these conversations are never easy, but it's like I never approach these conversations, and obviously I don't think either of you do either. Is like with an agenda. Like whenever you have conversations about race or anything else, like especially with people of a certain race or of a certain gender or whatever, like the important thing is just to be open and listen and not like. You're wrong, blah, like, because what does that accomplish? Like, then there's no conversation. It's over. Like, as soon as, like, you go in, like, thinking a certain way, it's already over. There's no reason to have a conversation. Like, it's very important to just kind of, like, listen and be aware. You don't have to agree with everything, but just listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, like, the only agenda that I have is people, leave me alone, mind your business.
Yeah. What else can we write about?
There was a Nintendo Direct today.
How was it? Are people angry? Did they announce?
I don't know. I watched it. I'm happy. Some things I skipped through because I was just like, I don't care about Splatoon. I don't care about these robots.
Oh, you love Splatoon? What?
I mean, Splatoon's fun, but it's like, okay, it's the third one. It's the same. Like,
yeah.
This is not like maybe you put some new stuff in there. Maybe they're cuter. Maybe you have probably two new squid idols, which are the only things I'm excited about because I love the squid idols. But like, I don't care. Like, it's just Splatoon. Like, it's going to be fun. Like, I don't need a whole 10 minutes in your direct talking about a thing that I'm already familiar with that has the same gameplay loop that it has had for the past two games.
Yeah,
I'm
shoot this.
excited because they are doing a remaster of Chrono Cross, which is dope.
Oh man,
I've always wanted to play Chrono Cross. I've never been able to.
was
I
there
have
any
a copy of it for PS1, but every time, like as soon as I get into the first random battle, it freezes up.
was there anything for Breath of the Wild 2? I can't wait to get Trump.
There was not. It
Oh,
was
this motherfuckers.
that
They
there
know
are like a lot
what
of
they're
other
doing.
remastered stuff. There's a remaster collection of the Klonoa games, which I'm also super excited about because I love like Klonoa 2 in particular. Lunatea's Veil, I loved so much.
Mm.
They did like more information on triangle strategy. There was a reveal trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is kind of interesting. 2 was kind of fun. First one was also really good. But it looks kind of good.
But what do they mean
There's
by
a
remastered?
That's the question, isn't it?
It looked like it was just an HD sort of remaster. Like it wasn't a complete rebuild of the game. It was just a remaster.
All I'm
Of
saying
Yeah.
about all I'm saying is Final Fantasy VIII remaster is the same exact game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
it looks the
that's
same
what
too.
a remaster should be,
Yeah.
but with like better graphics.
I don't know. I think for me, it's like kind of like an old movie. You know, like it's nice to be able to go back and like watch an old movie whenever, like getting a new old movie on, well, not a new old movie, but an old movie on like DVD because it was just released to DVD for the first time. Whenever they made the hot for VHS.
There are some games out there who are like, if the game is already perfect as it is,
Yeah.
100% I support a remaster. If there are things that could be improved, I'd rather it be a full remake.
Yeah.
Um,
Or make a new
like
game.
Xenogears, if they did a full remake of Xenogears, I would lose my mind. I
Yeah.
would love it. And like I feel like they would have to because the second disc is just trash. It's like you have to come up with something better in this. Please give us something better.
You know what I did hear? I didn't watch the Nintendo Direct, but I'm sure this was announced there because I saw it today. The Force Awakens. No, not the Force. The Force Unleashed is coming to Switch.
Oh, good.
What?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Well, they're kind of dated now, but they're also kind of fun too. It's like God of War, Star Wars-y stuff, which is fun.
Yeah, I actually played those games. Not the God of War games. I played the Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed, yeah, ton of fun. Ben Deck, Star Killer.
Yeah, I mean it's just like because the movement is good and like it looks good like what it did before.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Cutting shit up with lightsabers fun. Introduce some cool characters. That pilot with always has a low cut blouse. Great.
Yeah.
I'm usually really excited about remasters just because there's so many games that like are on platforms that like I just don't have anymore, and I've always wanted to play. And so seeing them remastered on a new console is just really exciting. So I'm like, I can finally play this on a system that actually runs well, and I'm not gonna have to deal with like insane loading times and shit.
Yeah.
Chrono Cross is a prime example. Like I have a copy of Chrono Cross on PS1 and I could get out my PS2 and, boot it up, but I know it is always going to freeze on that first random battle. Like I'm never going to get past that because the disc is just shit. Um or like I've played them before, but they're improvements that they're making to either like the gameplay or the controls that I know would make the experience of playing it better. Like Onimusha, I think is an example because I think Onimusha Warlords, when they remade it, um, like you're able to play it without tank controls, and I absolutely cannot handle tank controls. Like my brain doesn't comprehend that. So I've always been curious about like, I've always wanted to play Onimusha and I've heard that you can do it without tank control. So like that's one instance where I'm like, I would buy this because I want to experience this game, but not with these terrible controls that I will never be able to, use properly.
Yeah. That's the thing about like Final Fantasy VII remake that I actually appreciate because it's like I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan. Like, my wife loves Final Fantasy, but like, I just don't like turn-based combat games. I think they're really bad. Like, I like open world, like, free fighting combat. That's just like fun, not like turn-based. It feels like rigged to me in some way.
It kind of is.
It is like the
Yeah.
RNG is real. But I love turn-based combat. I mean, I like freeform sort of like action combat too, but I grew up on PS1 era
Yeah.
JRPGs. So I think that's why I like the strategy element. I think just a couple weeks ago I was telling Chair about playing this game called Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark, which is kind of a love letter to Final Fantasy Tactics, which I always believe it's like if someone who enjoys RPGs and like strategizing but doesn't like turn-based combat, like this is an instance of turn-based combat that they would probably still like because it's not like two parties on opposite sides of the screen. Like you have to think about placement of your characters and allies and sort of like where they're placed vertically and how close they are, to other characters and enemies, and what sort of abilities they have and what areas that they're able to target. So there's a lot of like thinking around that makes the experience of playing games like Tactics that are in that same vein like way more different than something like Final Fantasy,
Mm.
8.
Yeah. When I was a kid playing PS1, I didn't think at all. I just played Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
No,
Those are the games I just did not play
no
because
need
I
to
was
think.
always playing RPGs.
Yeah. Well, I was like 5 or 6 when those came out, so
Yeah.
that's what I was playing. But yeah, I don't know. I've never been like a huge gamer. Like maybe probably because I didn't play like RPGs much. But I remember like I felt very scammed by Final Fantasy because like the cover art looked so good and like the trailers looked good, and then I played the game and I was like, this game looks fucking trash.
Yeah. That's the curse of JRPGs back in the day. That's why I like Pokemon so much. At least it didn't try to overwhelm your expectations or anything like that.
I don't blame you. I mean, there are some RPGs out there that are just like they are just bad. They're just bad. Um, but there are some that I think are like legitimately beneficial to play for some reason or the other. I repeatedly told Chair like you have to experience Xenogears just because like the storyline is good and it has some of the most fun combat when it comes to like a standard RPG because you still have to think about like combos and chaining them together and like uh, a lot of the like the special effects that they use with the 2D models are really really fun. And then like you also have like this separate thing to think about as far as like utilizing your mechs and they have a slightly different system. Like it's just really fun. Um, but there are some I've played some turn-based RPGs that are just real trash. They're just not like the story's shit and the combat's basic turn-based. And it's just like this is not pushing any boundaries. This is not making me think I'm going to have a different experience. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah. That's like Magic, right? Magic, Magic
Well,
is just like it gets boring after a while.
yeah, but I think we all know that. Well, I'm a gamer because I have a horrible gambling addiction. I just cover it up with gaming. I'm not sure about you guys. I know Magic is a pretty big one, big cover for gambling too. Cards and they have value. You get to draw random cards from a deck. And you can do cool things with these random cards. You just need to draw the right card. It's one card, baby. It's all I need. It hooks you in, man.
Yeah. I don't know. It also
What
feels
else?
like you know, Magic just feels like there's a lot of FOMO, like fear of missing out, like not getting the cards you want, and yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm not sure. I mean, going back maybe a little bit, talking about like representation and stuff, and like sometimes it gets like shoehorned. Like there's an issue with comic books like 2014, 2015, where a lot of people like started like rebelling because they felt like comic books got super woke, and I mean comic books have always been kind of woke, but
Yeah.
there was a series of years where like Miss Marvel is now a Pakistani Muslim girl, and Captain America is now black, and Thor is now a woman, and all this stuff. Like they just like a lot of main characters like they turned into minorities, right? And like a lot of people were like, "Hey, this is a problem because this is too woke and blah,
because
blah,
I hate
blah.
women, because I hate black people, and I don't want to see one in my comics."
They say things like, "Well, why not create an original character or whatever?" Which they did eventually with Ironheart, who was essentially a female Black Iron Man, which people had a problem with. But the thing is, like, I think a lot of people conflate different things, right? Just because they're pandering to a group of people doesn't mean inherently that's bad. Like some of it is bad. Like Sam Wilson's Captain America was just really bad, but not because it was a black Captain America. Because on the other hand, Thor being Jane Foster was really good, and Kamala Khan being Miss Marvel was incredible. Like most of the series they did. I mean, and if you go back a little further before people got upset about it, Miles Morales, half black, half Latino, being Spider-Man was fucking sick. And it's and they did Into the Spider-Verse, which I don't know. I don't know if Mookie's seen that or not, but like you're making an animated movie.
I love it.
What was that?
I love it.
Yeah.
You're making probably one of the best things we've
You're
gotten
making
in a while.
an animated movie for kids essentially, but obviously not only kids see it, but the kids who do see it gain so much from that because young African Americans. I know that's not the word anymore. I don't know what the proper term is, but like young people of color in our country watching that movie, like they feel represented. Like they like and maybe I don't know that the experience of minorities because I'm not a minority obviously, but like I don't know if they've ever seen like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and thought, wow, that's incredible. I could be like Spider-Man. But I think it's something different when you see someone who looks like you being Spider-Man, right? And you're like, wow, like that's insane, right? Where like I've never had to have that thought like as a kid growing up, right? Like this is the thing a lot of people don't understand about white privilege. They think like, well, I was poor growing up and I'm white and I didn't have privilege. Motherfucker, they didn't even have Band-Aids that blended in with black people's skin, okay? Motherfucker, you don't understand. That's privilege. You don't know what it's like to walk into a room and be the only person who looks like you. That's privilege.
Yep.
I think for me, like it's important to understand, like there's different people are going to have different privilege. Like even people within the black community, are going to have different types of privilege. Like probably not, the best types that, other people have been able to sort of like benefit from. But like especially in this day and age, like even I have to think about the fact that like I have a lot of privilege that a lot of poor people in this country do not have. Like I have my own home. I'm college educated. I can easily support my own child. And so like my experience right now as a, middle class, person living in America is I'm in a better situation than like a small white family living in, the middle of nowhere who are living off of food stamps and can't afford to even pay for their rent. Like there's different types of privilege that exist. But
Right.
like social privilege is something that like it's only recently that we've been able to truly benefit from. And and sort of the ability of being able to see someone in media who looks like you is substantial. Like it is big. Because I think about when I was a kid, even hearing comments from other Black people in my family of like, well, you can't do this because like there's not a Black so and so. Like the tried and true comment, between Black people back when I was, a child. I mean, you would hear Black kids say like, well, I want to be the president. And like you'd get comments from other Black people be like, yo, you can't be the president. There's no Black president. That's never going to happen. And now, the fact that we have had a Black president and people can't legitimately make that argument anymore. It opens up so many possibilities just in someone's mind who have had a hard time imagining themselves being, successful in that way. And so like that's for me why representation is so important and why it's so important to have meaningful representation. Like
Right. From
I'm
the right
so
voices,
glad
right?
that Miles is such a good character who has so much depth
That
and
show.
it's so easy to identify with, with people who aren't even just black.
Yeah. Well, also like
And
Into the Spider-Verse had such a unique art style. It had it had a fantastic writing. It was so funny and it was so heart-throbbing and it was just great. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic movie. Like what you're saying is right as fuck, but also at the same time, like at the core of this, what it comes down to is it was a good movie. People wanted to spend money to go out to the theater to sit down, and they wanted to get overpriced popcorn and overpriced soda, and they wanted to fucking watch the movie. Like you need people to want to do that. Like that's crosses all racial. At least I hope crosses all racial divides. You need to get people to go see the fucking movie first. And there's a lot of ways to do that, and also the best way to do it is by making a really good movie, because then everybody's going to go see it because they're like, "Yo, this movie's fucking awesome," and then they want to go see it.
make a good movie with a good character.
Yeah, like Miles Morales.
And I'd say, like, honestly, Spider-Man probably easiest character for them to make a spin-off character who is of a different sort of like archetype that is easy to for people to identify for, because you have like the core of Peter Parker is just a character who is easy to identify because he's just like an everyday person who is thrust in weird situations, who has suffered loss and sadness and been thrust into really difficult situations. So it's like it's not the equivalent of this rich person became a superhero and is now saving the day and has never struggled, and they're like no, he's struggled. Like his struggles are different. They're not the same as a black person, but being able to sort of like, I think it's easy for them to transform a character like Spider-Man, who was already very easy to identify with, into another character that other people in other race groups like are able to also identify. I think if they had failed to do that with Miles Morales, I would have been like, you were just bad at your job.
If he would have just been walking around on screen the entire time going, yo, 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 and he went down and like just shoot basketball, like
bad at your job. Like, you're just handed the easiest pass with this character. Like you easily be able to do that.
Yep.
Well, you look at Peter Parker. Obviously, I mean, like the reason he's so popular as a character is because people can relate to it. People identify with him. Right? When you're a kid and you're reading Spider-Man, at least this was my experience. Is like, hey, this is a guy who's like a kid as well, who also is struggling with school, but he's also Spider-Man. He's got real world struggles that anybody can relate to, but then he's also Spider-Man, right? And Miles Morales is very similar, but like because he is half black and half Latino, he also has other, real world identifiable issues, like something that's very common in cultures, black culture, Hispanic culture, Asian culture, the expectation of your parents, right?
Yeah.
Parents have very high expectations of children from certain cultures, and Miles's parents, right, like have certain expectations of him, and that's something that a lot of people can relate to as well. And then he also is going through school and struggling because he's also Spider-Man, and he has other issues with family and everything else, and dealing with loss and dealing with heartache and dealing with whatever else, right? And this is the core of how people connect. Vulnerability. That's how we connect with people. When we see their vulnerabilities, that's the core of all relationships, right? Because it's hard to connect with someone who's always like, hey, I'm like this and blah, blah, blah. Like, just, okay, dude, all right, you're kind of an asshole, whatever. But if you get to understand that person and understand, hey, this person's always angry because they're afraid to be hurt, right?
Yep.
Things like that. Like, but there's not enough of that, I think. So when you get amazing characters like Miles Morales, and like, it's so easy. Like, I loved him from 2011 when he first showed up. I had 9 copies of his first appearance in comics. I sold 8 of them for $30, and now they're worth like $800. So that's what I need to pay rent.
It's a bit. Collecting comics is no fun.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you can even go further back to 2003 or something, maybe 2004, 2005. Wolverine's clone, X-23, right? Like, people weren't upset about a woman becoming Wolverine in 2005, but make it 2015. People are all up in arms about it, that it's wokeness or whatever,
Yeah, it's because Twitter wasn't around back then. Well, it was, but nobody used it, and now everyone 2015, everyone is on Twitter, or everyone with opinions on Twitter anyway.
Like, also, the problem is like people have been like, it's been done so often that things have been made in media specifically to pander to a group that I think that a lot of people, like, they see things like this happen and they get paranoid that, like, oh my God, they're doing it again. And so, like, I in particular, right off the bat, a lot of times I'm sort of defensive about, like, okay, but is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That should be the
which
first
is
question for any
terrible to
product that
say
gets put out to
because you
market.
want to say, like, I want to give this thing a chance, like I want to give this new character or this new movie that is centering Black women or Latino women or trans individuals. I want to give them space and like give it a chance, but like it's happened so often that like terrible shit has been made just for the sake of saying like, but we put a Black person here or we put an Asian person here, see, we did it. That it's just like, I think so many people are used to it that like a big part of why there's this sort of shout of like you're being woke is because most of the time before recently that has been the case. Like it's absolutely been the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Just because
It's just odd. It comes up so much with like gender swapping or race swapping characters and like media and stuff, which I get to a certain extent. Like there are certain characters you can't like race swap. I mean, you can't make Steve Rogers black because I mean,
you absolutely can't.
right? Like you can't make Black Panther white for the same reason, right? Like it's
Yeah, dude, we're
so
talking about White
ingrained-
Panther.
Jesus.
I was
He's the
literally
new king of Wakanda, Steve.
you want to make this all-American white man
In, Ba-
adored by the country that enslaved people for hundreds of years.
in Bombay, Steve.
Come on.
But you-
No, something else.
Right, but it's like there are characters where it's not inherent to who they are, right? Like
Yeah.
you could make Gambit black. He's from
Yeah.
fucking Louisiana, motherfucker.
God, that would be awesome.
Right? Like a Cajun fucking Gambit, Bayou Gambit, like hey, like it's like in the Princess of the Frog, right? Like capturing the culture of Southern United States. You can make Gambit black and bring that culture to the X-Men, right? Like
Yeah.
You don't even have to put him in Louisiana. You could say, like, let's go close by. Let's do a South Carolina-inspired Bella
Yeah.
Black Gambit. That'd be fucking dope. I'd love that.
yeah,
So
but he
yes.
has to have the French accent.
Yeah, well.
I'm just kidding, he doesn't.
Yeah,
But it's like a lot of people were upset with when Iron Fist came out on Netflix. So like, why didn't they cast an Asian person to be Iron Fist? Well, because that's the whole point of the character,
yeah,
right?
that's
Which
the idea.
maybe is an unfair way to create that character. Maybe his Inception comics, he should have been Asian because what they did maybe wasn't like the most culturally sensitive.
Mm.
But like even people got upset with Shang-Chi. Like why are you guys upset? Like, oh, you're making it just a pander to Asian. What?
It's Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings. Like, it's the name of the fucking... It's the name of the fucking movie, Shang...
Right.
Oh, man.
It's
People are the worst.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was the same thing with Wonder Woman in 2017. People actually boycotted because they're like, oh, they're just pandering to women. It's like, what? It's Wonder Woman. Like,
Yeah, that argument in particular is a little bit ridiculous because I'm like, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
right.
Like, do you know how terrifying Wonder Woman actually is? Like, come on.
Well, the thing about Wonder Woman 2 is also that Wonder Woman was a good movie.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I'm going to keep hammering on this until I fucking die. Just
And
make something good first.
The other thing, too, like, that's so great about Wonder Woman is, like, it does fall kind of in the background, but, like, a lot of the Amazons from Themyscira weren't just fucking white people. Like,
Yeah.
like it's so easy for people to be like, well, hey, I've read comics my whole life, and they're all white. Except for, like, one. Like, it's like, it's easy for them to be like, well, the comics did it, so I'm going to do it. It's like, no, motherfucker, just because the source material maybe was racist doesn't mean you have to be.
Exactly.
Like, audition a bunch of different people, hire the best for the job no matter what. Like, unless, like, your role calls for a specific thing, but... Like, obviously Black Panther, you're not going to hire a white person or Asian person, so...
Yeah, dude. The new leader of Wakanda, Bob. Hey, Bombay. Bob.
Welcome, Tom Smith.
John Doe.
He shows up at Wakanda, he's like, I'm going to have a gold old-fashioned barbecue out here, brother.
Nah, yeah.
That just reminds me of how angry people were with the, like, I can't even remember the character's name, but from Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, the ancient one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton.
Well, there was
I too, I was like on the fence because I was like, okay, I do love Tilda Swinton and she is an incredible actress, but I do kind of agree with the Asian community that like y'all could have found an Asian man. Like
it's not about. It's more about the fact that there's a specific country that has a lot of people that living in it that all have a lot of money that consume a lot of media that has very specific opinions about the country of Tibet, where from the. And so I don't think they wanted her associated at all. Like they changed the character completely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they made the ancient one from an Asian man to a woman, but speaking as a white man who doesn't know much, is it not more insulting to stereotypically cast an old Asian person to be the wise old mentor in Tibet?
I mean, like it kind of is, but also they could have just like they changed up the character enough by making it a woman.
Yeah.
Like Tilda Swinton, that they easily could have just been like, okay, let's cast an Asian man, but not make him stereotypical.
Or a young Asian woman.
Yeah, that too.
That also would have been rad.
Like whoever played Shang-Chi's mom, she was amazing. They could have done her.
They didn't though.
Or anyone, right? Like they could have just gotten like they could have hired someone who was Indian, someone from Bollywood. They could have hired someone who was Filipino. They could have hired like literally anybody from an Asian country, right?
They picked like literally the whitest person they could possibly think of.
Yeah.
She's very, very white. Like it's like dude, she walks out in sunlight, dude. Planes are going down. All right, they're like getting holes burned because like the sunlight's bouncing off her bald head, and it's like blinding pilots.
I mean, honestly, like the main reason I couldn't be super angry was just because like she is an incredible actress.
She is.
At least they're gonna get a good performance out of.
Yeah,
right. No, it'd be like if they cast Meryl Streep, right? Like you couldn't be angry about that, really.
God,
yeah. What else to talk about?
Stripping back to Nintendo, fucking Nintendo Switch Sports.
Oh, what are they like doing? Like Wii Sports, but like on the Switch?
Yes, I'm gonna bowl so much.
Yeah,
you're never gonna hear from me.
Didn't they already have that like in like Clubhouse games package? Like you can do both.
No, but that was more like
they had the ring. They had the ring, like the Wii Fit. The Wii. No, it wasn't the Wii. It's the Switch ring. Do you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that's just exercising.
Yeah, I know.
That like actual games.
Well, you're still exercising though. You're flinging your arms around, right? When you go.
No, like Ring Fit is like you were going to solve this problem by doing squats. Oh. You will defeat this monster by doing lunges and like it's like actual exercising.
Yeah,
that sounds hell.
I'll need to pick that up. Damn.
I mean, it's fun and like I play it a lot because I'm trying to be more active and exercise more, and it's helpful for me because I get bored with just doing. If I can gamify something in any way, then like it will get me doing it. So.
That's what gets me through workouts every day. Is like I can't be thinking about the workout. So like if I'm doing like an incline walk or on the bike, I'm just reading a book, like because it distracts me from the workout.
Yeah, I just get super stoned, and then I do my exercises, and then I just don't think about them. It's great.
You walk like 37 miles a day, so.
Well, I got a 98-pound German Shepherd. She gotta wander. Big old dog. It's great exercise though. I switch arms now when I'm walking her. It's like so I don't get like uneven arm growth.
Hi, puppy.
Yeah, big puppy.
Please tell me you did not pee on the floor.
Uh-oh.
I decided to let him be out of his crate for a little bit.
Oh, there's your first mistake.
He's still a puppy. He was only maybe 2 or 3 months old, so he saw this thing where he's just like, I'm just gonna let it go while I'm walking.
Yeah, that's what they do.
He's been outside for about an hour and a half, so.
All right, gang. It's been real, but man, like I'll be honest with you guys. I want to go smoke some. And I want to play Dota 2 because I fucking hate myself, but that comes after.
Already? You're looking in the crate. Come on.
She's talking to her dog. She don't know all you.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else to talk about, but
There
honestly,
really
like,
isn't. I mean,
uh,
we could talk for hours about just whatever, but like, hey, we gotta go to bed at some point and eat dinner, and
yeah.
you gotta do your
Well,
thing with your
not,
thing.
I'm not going to bed tonight.
Oh,
My boy Jeff, we're gonna be hanging out all night because
oh,
my parents are gone. So I'm gonna take a nap soon, drink a cup of coffee. We're gonna hang out and play video games.
nice.
Yeah, just stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Well, tell Jeff I say hello.
I will be sure to do that.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good talks.
Yeah, dude, that's what we do. Words.
Surprisingly deep.
Yeah, we're deep. We're deep people.
We have graced Twitch with true wisdom.
The depth of our souls, dude. Like
Exactly.
it's gonna change Twitch chat, and also Twitch chat if you're there. Don't forget, donate, like, subscribe, but more importantly, donate. I need to get a high rise in LA, and then
Yeah.
move into a mansion with TikTokers and live off DoorDash gift cards. So just give me that donate button whenever you guys feel like it.
Yeah,
Is it still fun to do the ice bucket challenge?
No, that's wait.
my favorite ice bucket challenge is 50 Cent. Have you seen it?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Oh, he just he just uses it to talk shit to Floyd Mayweather. He says he has the bucket. He said, "This is the ALS ice bucket challenge. I ain't gonna use this water though. Hey, Floyd Mayweather, I challenge you. If you could read one full page of a Harry Potter book."
Bro, what?
Oh man.
That's just he doesn't believe he can read.
It is wild.
Oh, celebrity culture.
Look up 50 Cent ice bucket challenge. It's so funny. Okay.
It is bonkers.
All right, gang.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the talks, and we'll hang out again soon.
Yeah. See you guys next week.
Peace out.